What's up guys, this is Simon from Shanghai again. Welcome to another Every Chinese video. Now recently I feel like there are a lot of bad news about China. For instance, the economy is slowing down, the trade war is getting more real, and those sensitive issues in certain regions are also heating up. If you're watching this video, you probably have seen those news as well. And there are many other issues such as no rule of law, lack of freedom, and violation of human rights. Some of you might think that, oh no, China is under such a terrible situation, its people must be devastated and they must be eager for a change. Well, it's not that simple. Yes, we do have people like that, but at the same time in China, there are many people who are pretty satisfied with the current situation and they support our government. You may be like, who the heck are they and what are they thinking? Well, it's a very difficult question to answer because they are just ordinary people like us. And they're among all social classes, including farmers, office workers, doctors, professors, etc. And maybe I'm wrong on this one, but based on all the people around me, I feel like they may actually represent the majority of Chinese people. And actually, most of my family members are pretty satisfied with the current situation. So today, let me share some of their thoughts with you. But before we talk about this, I want to make some clarification. First of all, I'm not saying all Chinese people are pretty happy about it. I'm sure there are many people out there who have very different views. But in this particular video, let's just focus on talking about why people such as my uncle and my grandparents are cool with what they have right now. And at the end of the video, I will tell you what I think about their perspectives. Okay, let's begin. First of all, personal experience, which I think is one of the most important factors. If you have a decent life in this country, it will be less likely for you to make complaints, right? For instance, my grandmother retired at age 50 and my grandpa retired at age 55. Right now, every month, both of them can get about $1,200 from their pension. Plus, they have some saving and a decent place to live. So they literally have nothing to worry about. Once in a while, they go traveling abroad with us or their friends. So far, they probably have been to more than 40 countries. My grandma always said that she's really grateful for what she has today. Thanks to our government, they're able to have a happy, stress-free life after retirement. Okay, moving on. The second reason why they are pretty happy about the current situation is that they have seen huge changes in the past 30 years, which includes personal income, living condition, public infrastructure, and many other aspects. Like I have mentioned before, 30 years ago, the average salary is probably around $20 per month, but today, the average salary is around $1,000 in Shanghai. Although it is still way behind most developed countries, but at least we are catching up. When my mom was in college, she and her family were all living in a very tiny apartment with no hot water, no sewage system, no aircon. If you want to do a shower, you have to go to a public shower room. If you want to poop or peep during the night, you have to do it in a pot. And on next day, you will need to dump your waste to a certain place, which definitely is not a pleasant experience. But today, they all have moved to bigger and better apartment with all those basic amenities. My mom says that when she was a kid, it would be luxury to own a bicycle. Only the richest kid in the local community was able to afford a bike. They have never dreamed of having their own bike and let alone a car. However, today, everyone is able to afford a bike. And owning a car in China is also extremely common. Back to the old days, if they want to go to other big cities such as Beijing, it will probably take for 1 to 2 days. You have to take bus, then another bus, then switch to a train. The public transportation system was way behind the rest of the world at that time. There was no subway, no highway, and the train was extremely slow. However, today, we have more high-speed railway than the rest of the world combined. It takes less than 5 hours to go to Beijing from Shanghai. No other country has ever accomplished that achievement within that short period of time. Okay, now here comes to the third reason. Compared to their friends who have moved abroad, my family thinks that our lives in general are not worse than their friends. My mom said that she used to be very jealous of her friends who have moved to the West 20 years ago because they can make much more money than us. However, right now, she feels pretty good about herself because the wealth gap between her and her foreign friends is closing up. And she's able to retire at age 55, but her friend in the West will need to keep working until the age of 60 or maybe 65. So she thinks the government allows her to retire earlier and have enough money to do whatever she wants after her retirement. She has nothing to complain about. Next reason is a little bit controversial. It probably won't come out of their mouths. It is just based on my own observation. But I still think it may play an important role and worth noting. So the reason is that information they have perceived around them is predominantly positive. For instance, my grandparents get news by watching TV, reading newspaper, and then checking their WeChat, where most of the news is positive. Of course, you can find negative ones on those media, but you definitely won't find a lot of sensitive matter that you will find on Western media. So just imagine that if you are surrounded by all the good news, you probably feel pretty optimistic about your country, right? Although some of them do have access to the outside world, they think that Western media is not trustworthy, therefore they don't believe news coming from the outside. My uncle used to say the main reason China built the firewall is that there's too much fake news on the internet, so the government tries to protect its people by blocking those malicious media and websites. And actually, a lot of people on YouTube also believe the same. I don't know, what do you guys think? Okay, moving on, the fifth reason. Even if there are some issues, complaining about society won't do any good to yourself. That's what my uncle believes. He said, instead of focusing on the negative part of society, we should look at the bright side. No matter what kind of society we have, smart and hardworking people will always stand on top of the hierarchy. And therefore, we should stop whining about the unfairness of our society and keep improving ourselves and adapt to whatever we have right now. Okay, last but not least, some of them are scared of changes. They don't want that uncertainty. My grandpa said that he has seen plenty of negativity of the Western political system on television. He worries that change would lead to chaos. Although our government has made some mistakes in the past, at least it has made great achievement in terms of economy and has lifted 1.4 billion people out of poverty. And he loves comparing China to India. My grandpa said that this all the time. Look at India, they are a democratic country. Our economy used to be on the same level, but right now we are way ahead of them. It proves that our government is doing a much better job. So instead of changing to something that we are not sure about, why don't we just stick with the current one? Okay guys, there you have it. Those are the reasons why most of my family members are pretty satisfied with the current situation. Some of them are based on their own thoughts and some of them are based on my observation. So what do you guys think? Do you agree or you have a different view? You can let me know under the comment section. Now let me tell you what I think about their perspective. First of all, I fully respect their view. I think they have made some valid points. For the past 30 years, we have indeed made some great improvements in many aspects, and it is undeniable that our government have played a decisive role in the whole process. Of course, they can't take all the credit. China also received huge support from the outside world, and most importantly, every single Chinese people's hard work are the main reason that we can achieve what we have today. Anyway, we have to admit, yes, they have achieved something impressive, but the achievement can't justify the thing that you haven't done properly, right? For me, the government is just like a CEO of a large corporation. We taxpayers are like the shareholder of this company. We pay the CEO to manage the company. If he has done a great job, that is what he's supposed to do, right? We pay for his service, right? However, if he's doing a good job in some parts, but he failed in some other areas, such as employee equality or social responsibility, we have right to tell him to make the correction, right? Even though the company's revenue is increasing, we also need to keep an eye on other parts. For instance, whether the model is sustainable, whether the employees are involved in making decisions for the future of the company, and whether everyone is getting paid properly. Those things are also very critical for a large corporation in the long run. If the CEO can't achieve that, I think it's natural for the board member to remind him of what he's failing. And if he refuses to change, I guess we have to thank him for his long-time contribution and find someone else to do a better job, right? Alright, I think that's pretty much it for today's video. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want more content about China from every Chinese dude, you should subscribe to my channel. Once again, thanks so much for all the love and support, and I will catch you next time. Peace.
我在这边我觉得很自由，我不管政治，我只要我的生活安逸就可以了。政治管我什么了？他也不管不了，我是一个小老百姓，我又不想当官，对吧？我只要安居守法就可以了。我又不需要看外国的网站，我只要看看外国的风情人情就可以了。我管他石油谁说了算，我管他谁打谁。